So we've got a very good fight coming up between David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade. In this video, I'll be breaking down why and how Demetrius Andrade defeats David Benavidez. Now, he is the underdog in this fight. He has a lot of odds stacked against him. A lot of the basic logic in many people's minds is David Benavidez to win this fight, specifically by a late round stoppage. However, in this video, I'm going to break down what Demetrius Andrade needs to do to get the victory and how he can win this fight. So I feel the first reason that Demetrius Andrade can definitely win this fight, his first major advantage and arguably his biggest advantage over David Benavidez, is foot speed. Demetrius Andrade has much quicker feet than David Benavidez. It's not even up for discussion. It's not up for contention. Now, when it comes to hand speed, that's a completely different argument. When it comes to athleticism and strength, power, whatever, when it comes to a lot of these basic physical attributes, you can make the argument Benavidez has the upper hand. But when it comes to foot speed, Demetrius Andrade has the much quicker feet than David Benavidez. It's really not up for discussion, in my opinion. This is a guy who's very quick on the back foot, very comfortable going backwards. He's very fast with his feet. There's a reason that these guys aren't really able to hit him too clean too often. He's very fast on his feet and has very quick footwork and very good footwork overall. I feel David Benavidez is going to be chasing him a lot in this fight. And if Andrade plays his cards right, he can definitely use his foot speed to his advantage for sure and end up outpointing David Benavidez. So the first very obvious advantage Andrade has over David Benavidez is foot speed. I believe he definitely has quicker feet than David Benavidez, and hopefully for him, he'll be able to use that to his advantage. The next reason is Demetrius Andrade is a very awkward fighter. And what do I mean by awkward? Because whenever I bring up a fighter being awkward, people always have a weird response. They don't know how to handle that statement. They're like, oh, awkward, what are you trying to insult him, make fun of him? This is not an insult. This is not me criticizing Andrade. There's a reason that I'm putting it in this video. Awkwardness for a fighter to have can either be good or bad for many, right? But in this type of scenario, and I apologize for my dog barking in the background, for this type of scenario, his awkwardness, in my opinion, actually would benefit him in this type of fight. Still going? His awkwardness would definitely benefit him in this type of fight because David Benavidez is a very up and down fighter, very, very to the point type of fighter. You know what I mean? He's going to keep coming forward. He's going to keep pressuring. He has a very simple game plan in this fight to seek and destroy Demetrius Andrade. And when you're someone like Andrade who's awkward, you can definitely negate that much easier. You know, if Demetrius Andrade was a basic back foot fighter who's slick and uses his jab and has good defense, it may actually be easier for a guy like Benavidez to get him out of there. But him being awkward, him throwing punches from weird angles, him pivoting weird, his footwork kind of all over the place sometimes, it could actually benefit him in this type of fight because Benavidez doesn't exactly know what to expect from Demetrius Andrade. He doesn't know exactly what is in Andrade's bag due to his awkwardness. Awkwardness is a mixed bag. It doesn't always help fighters out, but in this type of fight, I feel him having an awkward style will make it tougher for Benavidez, especially because Andrade is more defensive-oriented, defensive-minded. He'll be fighting on the back foot. Benavidez will be chasing him, etc. Him being an awkward-styled fighter will buy him time, will buy him rounds, and will make Benavidez have to work much harder because he'll also have to not just be physically beating Andrade, but he'll have to mentally figure Andrade out. The next reason is Andrade's a very quick starter. David Benavidez, I'm not going to say he's a slow starter, right? We saw what he did to David Lemieux in 3 rounds. We've seen him look very good early on in fights, but we've also seen him start very slow. The most obvious example is at the fight with Caleb Plant, which I was at, where he lost the first 4 rounds very clearly. He got dominated in those 4 rounds. They were not swing rounds. It was clear 4 rounds to 0 for Plant. The judge who had that fight, 117-111, is out of his mind. He's deluded. He's delusional. But even against Anthony Durrell, he started very slowly, and I think that was one of the worst performances of his career, by the way. I know he got the stoppage. It was due to the cut, obviously. And honestly, once he cut Durrell open, it was much easier for him. But before that, he looked very poor, looked very dull in that fight, looked very flat. And he started that fight very weak. Now, Demetrius Andrade is noticeably a very quick starter, one of the quickest starters in the sport. I think the same way that Benavidez is one of the best finishers in the sport, one of the best fighters in the later rounds, Demetrius Andrade is one of the best fighters in the early rounds. This fight could definitely be a fight that will be a tale of two halves. Very likely, right? Andrade's a very quick starter. We saw what he did against Jason Quigley where he demolished him in 2 rounds. I was at the Luke Keeler fight where he dropped him, 3 times in the first round or something like that. Nearly knocked him out cold. He dropped Walter Kautendakwa multiple times early on. Did he drop Selecki early as well? I mean, this is a guy who's a quick starter. Now, he's not the best at finishing his opponents, but he is a quick starter for sure, and that's definitely going to be a big advantage for him. As I said in my prediction video, there's a chance that he catches Benavidez coming in early and actually drops him early with a flash knockdown. I think there's a very good chance that happens. Don't rule it out. Trust me, there's a chance that happens. If he can get an early knockdown, win the next 3, 4, 5 rounds, right? And fight not in survival mode, but fight more tentatively. Kind of let Benavidez work, but also don't get bad or don't get hurt, but don't open up too much to where Benavidez can catch you if anything too crazy. There's a chance Andre can end up winning this fight, 7 rounds to 5, 6 rounds apiece with the knockdown early. He's a quick starter, and that's going to be a big advantage for him in this fight. I guarantee it. Him being a quick starter is going to definitely play a part in this fight. He's going to definitely win the first few rounds. I'm very confident of it. If he doesn't, I'll be pretty surprised. It's possible, but I expect Andre to start this fight off strong like he always does, and Benavidez to kind of need a couple rounds to figure his game out. Next reason is I believe this is Demetrius Andrade's last chance in his career. And a lot of times when it's a fighter's last true opportunity, they give it their all. A recent example, and I know this is kind of counterintuitive because this fighter still has big opportunities now, but at the time it looked like his last opportunity. Vasyl Lomachenko against Devin Haney. Now, after the Devin Haney fight, Loma has all these possible fights that could be made. He's probably fighting Kambosos. He has a Shakur Stevenson fight, Manuel Navarrete fight. He has a lot of fights on the radar now. But before the Devin Haney fight, it really was looking like Loma's last big opportunity. This is a guy that was in his mid-30s, had a couple losses now, didn't have too much left in his career, too many fights left, was aging. That looked like to be his last fight, right? His last big fight. I mean, not his last fight, obviously. And we saw a great performance from Loma. I would say the best performance Loma's given us in a bit, because I really wasn't impressed in how he looked in his prior bout against Ortiz. He looked great against Devin Haney, and I felt he won. They gave it to Devin, but even having it such a competitive fight with Devin Haney looks very good for a guy like Lomachenko. And the point I'm trying to make is Demetrius Andrade is 35 years old. No one wants to talk about this, but he's 35 years old, and he's a fighter that relies on his speed and his reflexes and his twitchy muscle movements. When you're in Demetrius Andrade's position, where he's obviously at the tail end of his career, this is probably his last big opportunity, and I honestly see Andrade very likely rising to the occasion. A lot of times when a fighter knows that this is their last shot, they give it a great effort. And I think Demetrius Andrade knows that this is truly his last opportunity. Because say he gets destroyed by David Benavidez. Benavidez stops him in 4 or 5 rounds, takes him out comfortably, right? Andrade's finished. He offers nothing for the sport if he doesn't give Benavidez at least a great fight, let alone beat him. He's going to give a very good effort, I believe, due to that fact. I feel it's going to be an extra motor for him. And a lot of people are going to say, this is not really a true fair reason to say that Benavidez defeats, a fair reason to say that Andre beats Benavidez, right? A lot of people are going to say, this isn't really factually based, it's not statistically based. But people underestimate the mental aspect of the sport of boxing. A lot of times we'll see a fighter have a weak performance, and because of that mental aspect, they'll look tremendous in their next fight. Or vice versa, they'll look amazing in a fight and they won't take the next fight seriously and they'll look poor. People don't value how much of a mental game this sport is. And Demetrius Andrade knows that this is a mental game for him. This is an important fight for him. And I see him giving a great effort. And the final reason is ring IQ. Now, I feel that Benavidez is a very smart fighter in the ring. But Demetrius Andrade's biggest strength, aside from maybe his athleticism and reflexes, is probably his ring IQ. He has a lot of basic flaws. He makes a lot of mistakes in the ring. But one thing I don't see him having much issues with is his ring IQ. He's very smart in the ring. He has very good game plans in his fights. He's very crafty. He's very technical. And I feel that Benavidez, I do think Caleb Plant arguably had a higher ring IQ than Andrade. It's very up in the air. But Benavidez isn't a guy that's going to blow through someone who's very technical and very smart. I feel Demetrius Andrade is a very smart fighter in there. He knows what he's doing. He's experienced. He's 35, as I mentioned. He's had 32 pro fights. He's 32-0 for a reason. I understand his opposition isn't tremendous. It's definitely not tremendous. He has fought some okay names in his career. He fought an undefeated Prime Vanish Matarosian. He fought Jack Kolkai. He fought Willie Nelson. There's a few other guys he fought. He fought Makiej Selecki. I mean, he hasn't fought anyone great. He hasn't fought anyone tremendous. But he has fought, to be fair, B-level opponents, and he's beaten all of them. And, no bum is taking out a bunch of B-level opponents. Liam Williams, that's another one, right? No bum is taking out all these B-level opponents. Now, I understand no one's been A-level that he's beaten. He has not beaten anyone tremendous. Benavidez is his first A-level opponent, but you have to have a relatively high ring IQ to be able to defeat all these guys. And I feel that Andre does have a high ring IQ, and I see opposing problems for Benavidez. Now, to end the video, I just want to give a quick little recap of the reasoning that I told you guys. First reason, foot speed. Andrade has a clear foot speed advantage over David Benavidez. Second reason, awkwardness. He's a very awkward style of fighting, very unorthodox, throws punches from weird angles, has a very unpredictable style of fighting. I see that giving Benavidez a lot of problems. Third reason, he's a fast starter. He's a very quick starter. He's going to begin the fight very good early on. He's going to rack in some early points. Fourth reason is that this has been Demetrius Andrade's last true opportunity to make a name for himself, to make a legacy for himself, to maybe even get a money fight with Canelo if he wins this. He knows that, and he's going to have to take advantage of it. Andrade definitely is self-aware that this is probably his last big opportunity, and he has to make it worth it, honestly. If he wins, he'll have more of them, but if he loses, it's probably over, especially if he loses widely. And the last reason is ring IQ. His ring IQ is very high, very solid, and that's going to help him in this fight. Thank you guys for watching. Tell me your prediction in the comment section below. What do you think is going to happen? Now, after all I've said, I am picking David Benavidez to win this fight. So I want everyone to know that before they comment. They're not gonna. Everyone's going to see the thumbnail. They're going to see the title of the video, and they're going to say, oh, weren't you picking Benavidez? Or they're going to come back to this video after the fight and try to clown me because Benavidez ended up winning. But I am picking Benavidez. I hope everyone knows that. Have a good one, guys. God bless. Thank you.